My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Every single week, we break down full UFC fight cards. We give you our picks, our bets, and our fantasy plays. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content. And we're also giving away $50. Anybody who goes to WeWantPicks.com/bets, signs up with one of our 5 betting partners, and makes a deposit, will get $50 from us. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it. And this is brought to you by EarnU.io. EarnU.io is the world's first sports and esports prediction game, allowing you to earn crypto risk-free. Check it out now at EarnU.io. First up at UFC Vegas 55, we have Elise Reed taking on Sam Hughes. Elise Reed, 5-1 overall, 4-1 in her last 5, and she's coming off a big win at UFC London. Sam Hughes, 6-4 overall, 2-3 in her last 5, and she's coming off of her first UFC win. And opening up this card, couple ladies making a quick turnaround. Both of them have fought basically within the last 2 months, and Sam Hughes fought less than a month ago, and it was literally her best performance to date. Elise Reed, she's coming off that big upset win over Corey McKenna at UFC London, where she showcased just how talented she actually was. She was very active. She never slows down, and she does not really have great power, but she's got pretty good power for the weight class. She has decent grappling and very good cardio as well. Sam Hughes is a good striker. She's big for the weight class. She's very aggressive, but also ridiculously hittable. And she has almost a negative 2-1 striking differential. She's coming off the upset win over Estela Nunes, where she showcased grappling, which we had not seen grappling from Sam Hughes before. She was able to work in 2 takedowns and more than 3 minutes of control time. And this is an interesting fight because when I first broke this down, there were no odds. I had to do it blind. I guess it was recently added. There were no odds whatsoever. And now, the odds opened up at Elise Reed, a pretty big favorite. Both of them are coming off career-saving fights, right? Both of these women, their careers were on the chopping block. Elise Reed came into the UFC against Sijara Eubanks, went up a weight, got pounded on. Sam Hughes just couldn't find a win to save her life. They finally both put together really nice performances, and now they're just immediately matched up with each other, and the loser may go home as well. And honestly, this is a hard fight to call because before her last fight, I really liked Elise. I said she's much better than you think she is. And if I had not seen either one of their last fights, I still would have said Elise Reed beat Sam Hughes. But watching Sam Hughes' last fight, and she worked in grappling, she got takedowns, a whole new dynamic that we hadn't seen before. And we watched Sijara Eubanks just take Elise Reed down. Granted, it was a weight class up. I legit think Sam Hughes could actually win this fight. And listen, this is not a tentpole pick. I'm not going to go bananas here convincing you that Sam Hughes is going to win. But I do think she will win this fight if she works in the grappling. If she fights this fight the way she fought that last fight, I think she can win. Come forward. We know she can take a ridiculous amount of damage. We know she has a ton of volume. Take the damage, put your volume in, drag Elise Reed to the ground, and she could win 2 rounds to 1. Jakey boy, what do you think?
Yeah, Sam Hughes is going to be one of those popular upset picks. I know, kind of like it's going to be like the Angela Hill last week, which good call on everyone with Angela Hill. I'm ready with wall of shame for all the people that pick Angela Hill as their lock of the week. I think it's going to be the same thing for Sam Hughes because I see her as kind of that gritty veteran that literally grinded her way to a victory in the last fight. Predicted by me in the fact that I said that the only way that she could win that fight is if she all of a sudden found wrestling in her game. Because you mentioned it, we had not seen wrestling for her. And leading up to that fight, they were doing the interviews or whatever, and she mentioned, all I'm doing is focusing on wrestling this camp. And it paid off. She got hit in the first round. She's probably going to get hit in the first round of this fight before she started to work in the takedowns. So once she started to grind on those takedowns, she was able to tire out Estela and get that victory. There's a well-fought victory for her. In this fight, she's going to get hit, and Elise Reed hits like a truck. Her 1-2 is as strong as anyone's in the division. I don't know if Sam Hughes is going to be able to survive like she did versus Nunes, and I don't think that Elise Reed is going to get quite as tired as Nunes was in that fight. That was one of the biggest turning points of that fight, was Nunes just gassed completely out, and that's when Sam Hughes was able to take over in the striking and then work to the grappling. So I understand why people are so high on Sam Hughes as the underdog, because the grappling is there, right? If she shows up in grapple, Elise Reed, the hole in her game is on the ground, and she cannot get off her back, as we saw with Sajura Eubanks. But Eubanks is a much better wrestler than Sam Hughes. If Sam Hughes can get the takedowns, obviously there's the pass. So I understand why people are picking her, but she just gets hit way too often and loses against people that she probably should lose to all the time. So I'm gonna pick Elise Reed, but I understand why people are so high on Sam Hughes.
Yeah, I get it, man. I'm not gonna, there's picks where I'll dig my heels in and I'll argue and I'll fight. This is not one of those. The only reason I like Sam Hughes is because of the last fight. And the reality is, at the end of the day, you'll see, if you look at her whole body of work, 6-4, we've only seen one fight with the wrestling. So it was her most recent fight, which is what makes this difficult, because maybe that's every fight going forward. We see tons of fighters completely pivot. Jamie Malarkey did the opposite. The guy was a grappler his entire career. All of a sudden, he's a striker.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
Okay.
That's a throwback. That's a throwback there.
There it is. And Sam Hughes might be making the other pivot. So this is a tough one. There's no bet here, but I do think Sam Hughes could pull it off. DraftKings, I don't know, man. If you think Elise Reed gets a stoppage, go for it. If you think Sam Hughes gets the takedowns and can hang on and get some ride time, go for that. But probably not. What do you think?
Probably not.
Okay, also very helpful. The more monkey knife fights, probably a decent play, honestly, because I think they go at it. Elise Reed throws a ton of volume. Sam Hughes is ridiculously hittable, so I think she can get over the 97. And then Sam Hughes also throws a ton of volume. I was actually surprised to see her line at 72, considering, her volume and her forward pace. Check out Monkey Knife Fight. It's daily fantasy, and it's a ridiculous name. I'm not going to lie. The name is kind of stupid, but it is daily fantasy. It's a ton of fun. You go to WeWantPicks.com/MKF. They will instantly match your deposit up to $100. Take the free money. Take the free deposit match money. Put that on some of those strike lines. WeWantPicks.com/MKF. Give it a shot. And if you want 50 free bucks, WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you.